of our neighborhoods and communities. And what was exciting for me is that we introduced a lot of technology as a mechanism with which to keep people safe. Technology now that some of our witnesses actually can talk to, like shot spotters and cameras and more, license plate readers and more. And what excites me now is I was mayor about 11 years ago, which is a long time when it comes to the advancements of technology and innovation. We know that technology in America has so much promise, and in this sphere, it could do a lot. Many people will be stunned to know that our murder clearance rates in the United States is something where, Chief Aguilar, you can help us me out, but somewhere around 50%. It is, yeah, it's astonishingly, I think that was a hallelujah that he said there. Amen, Senator Booker. Is astonishingly low. And so one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that technology could help us on clearance rates. It could help us to create more community trust. It could help us on investigations. It could help us in so many positive ways. But we also know that technology presents a lot of possibilities to undermine our core values and our ideals as well. When it comes to certain constitutional protections, when it comes to privacy, when it comes to some of the most sacrosanct elements of our democracy. And so we know that AI is consequential in our society as a whole in ways that many of us can't fully imagine, both in the possibility and the promise, as well as the potential problems. When it comes to our criminal justice system, where often a person's liberty and a person's life are at stake, when the safety of their neighborhoods are at stake, where their constitutional protections are at stake, is particularly consequential. Law enforcement's use of artificial intelligence technology is not a recent development, again, as all of our experts can attest to. Its recent expansion raises a lot of questions, as well as raises a lot of excitement for me about the possibilities. And so I'm going to submit the rest of my opening testimony for the record. But I do want to say to the witnesses that are here how excited I am. I know you all made sacrifices and took time out. I'm going to introduce you in a moment after my ranking member, Senator Cotton, does his opening statement. But we really are at a point in humanity where every generation has breakthrough technologies that shape and alter the course of humanity. AI is most certainly one of those things. And I know that Senator Cotton and I both are committed to trying to find a way to capture the possibility as well as protect against the risks. And with that, I'm very excited and very grateful to Senator Cotton and his entire team for helping to make this hearing possible. And I will turn the microphone over to him for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Senator Booker. I will say that artificial intelligence has gained a lot of attention lately, over the last year and a half or so in particular, but the core technology has been around for some time. Because of how it's depicted, maybe we should start with what it's not. Many people, fortunately most people, don't have much personal interaction with law enforcement or with the criminal justice system. What is AI in law enforcement not, though? It's not RoboCop, it's not the Terminator, it's not the Matrix, it's not Ultron, it's not even Wall-E. It is never used independent of human decision-making in our criminal justice system. That's why it's a tool in the law enforcement toolbox and it can provide impressive time-saving and crime-solving and justice-serving tools. Just one example, facial recognition software, for instance, could take a crime scene sketch or a security camera image and go through thousands and thousands of pictures in a public database, say a driver's license database. It can eliminate obvious non-matches. It might be even to narrow it down, but then that is a tool that independent human judgment can use to pursue leads. If the early stages of a criminal investigation are like looking for a needle in a haystack, then artificial intelligence, if you will, can provide a magnet for some of our criminal investigators in the police forces around the country. That's why I want to enter into the record with consent here a statement from the National Sheriff's Association, the major county sheriffs of America, and the major cities chief association. They represent state and local law enforcement all across the country. I want to highlight one particular line from their statement, quote, "It is essential to recognize that AI-powered technology serves as an investigative assistant to law enforcement rather than a replacement for the human element," end quote. Mr. Chairman, I ask consent to enter that statement into the record.
Without objection.
I also want to give one concrete real-world example of how this can work. Last summer, British authorities contacted the Department of Homeland Security about a video of child sexual exploitation. They had reason to believe it was made in the United States. DHS ran the faces against a mass database of photos, and they found a match, a college sports administrator in Missouri. Investigators then found the suspect's Facebook profile and were able to confirm not only that it was the same person, but even that the child victim was on his Facebook page. They eventually got a search warrant from a judge, and in July they were able to arrest and charge this predator. Without that facial recognition technology, he might be free today, and that child might still be subjected to abuse today as well. AI-powered law enforcement tools also improve efficiency and save lives in other ways. For instance, by modeling where and when crimes happen, law enforcement agencies can better position limited patrol units to prevent crimes or to respond quickly. They can coordinate with other emergency services like ambulances for better staffing at times and places where they would be needed. In yet other cases, AI-powered products like those made by Motorola Solutions are used by 911 call centers to clean up, transcribe, and even translate 911 calls in real time. Or an AI product made by the company Axon is used by law enforcement to quickly blur faces in body cam footage so police departments can share the footage with the public faster. Other AI-powered tools can analyze financial records to help identify financial crime. And AI-powered cameras can recognize license plates of wanted individuals and alert law enforcement to investigate. Now, I understand there are some who have concerns about the use of artificial intelligence technology in law enforcement, and those concerns are in some cases valid and should be aired, which I think we'll do today. But I do want to point out that probably the most uncomfortable people with the use of artificial intelligence are criminals who would like to avoid being caught. Because again, artificial intelligence is simply a tool that human investigators, police officers, prosecutors can use to help solve cases, convict criminals, and put them behind bars. We need to remember that artificial intelligence-powered law enforcement tools are assistive technologies, helping law enforcement officers be better at their jobs. And responsibly used, these technologies can help create a faster, cheaper, more accurate criminal justice system where the criminals are being caught, prosecuted, victims are being provided justice, and the innocent are not being punished. I know our witnesses have thoughts and expertise to share on these questions, and I look forward to today's conversation. I do want to say and apologize in advance that since this hearing was scheduled, the Republican Conference has scheduled an all-Republican meeting about the National Security Supplemental Bill that is currently under debate. So I may not make it to the end, but I assure you it has nothing to do with your testimony. Thank you all.
Senator Cotton, thank you for those excellent remarks. You went through an array of movies there from WALL-E to Terminator. Were those recommendations or did your staff sort of put them in? All right. I am excited that what I'm going to do now is introduce all the witnesses, and then I'm going to ask you to stand up and raise your right hand and swear an oath. We prefer you not to swear at us, but just swear the oath, and then we'll go and open it up for your testimony in alphabetical order. So I want to introduce really quickly the Assistant Chief of Police, Armando Aguilar, from the City of Miami Department and Law Enforcement Subcommittee member of the National Artificial Intelligence Advisory Committee. Assistant Chief Aguilar is Assistant Chief of Police for the City of Miami Police Department, which is having some extraordinary success in protecting citizens and keeping their community safe. In 2022, you began serving as a member of the Law Enforcement Subcommittee of the National Artificial Intelligence Advisory Committee, which advises the President of the United States on matters related to the use of AI in law enforcement. As Assistant Chief of Police, you oversee hundreds of sworn and civilian employees, and you've held many senior management positions in all divisions of the Miami Police Department. During your time with the MPD, you have implemented offender-focused strategies that have contributed to significant reductions in violent crime and significant increases in clearance rates. You hold a Master in Public Administration from Barry University and a Bachelor's of Criminal Justice from St. Leo University. It's really an honor to have you here, and we're very, very grateful. I want to next introduce Dr. Karen Howard, PhD. Dr. Howard works with the U.S. Government Accountability Office, the GAO, as acting chief scientist and a director of the GAO's Science Technology Assessment and Analytics Team, STAA or STA, I'm not sure which one, or STA. You manage a broad portfolio of topics, frankly, an impressive portfolio of topics, including forensic algorithms, biological threats, chemical weapons, national security implications of emerging technologies, and other issues. It's pretty extraordinary the work you do. You've produced key GAO reports that you're going to testify about, including forensic technology algorithms used in federal law enforcement and forensic technology algorithms strengthen forensic analysis, but several factors can affect outcomes. You've earned your PhD in environmental chemistry and your master's degree in analytical chemistry. You are, as my dad would say, you have more degrees in the month of July, and it's great to have you here. And thank you for, again, flying up from Alabama as well. It's difficult for me, Professor Wexler. You have so much Berkeley on your resume as a Stanford man. I'm going to try to muscle my way through this, okay? You are assistant professor of law at University of Berkeley School of Law and faculty co-director. You're the co-director for the Berkeley Center of Law and Technology. Professor Wexler is a faculty co-director of the Berkeley Center for Law and Technology and assistant professor of law at UC Berkeley. Your teaching and research focus on data, technology, and secrecy in the criminal legal system. Your scholarship has appeared in so many places: the Harvard Law Review, Stanford Law Review, Yale Law Journal Forum, NYU Law Review, UCLA Law Review, Texas Law Review, Vanderbilt Law Review, Berkeley Technology Law Review. I would criticize you because nothing in Arkansas you need to correct for that. Professor Wexler served as senior policy advisor for science and justice at the White House Office of Science and Technology during the spring of 2023, and as the James C. Carpenter Visiting Professor at Columbia Law School. You've got your JD from Yale, MPhil from Cambridge as a Gates Scholar, and you were summa cum laude at Harvard. And again, we thank you for flying in all the way from California. Would the three witnesses please stand up and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give before the subcommittee will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record show that each witness has answered in the affirmative. You may sit down, unless you want to stand for the hearing, which, of course, we have no preference. You each will now have 5 minutes for your opening statement, and again, we're going to start with, in alphabetical order, with Chief Aguilar.
Good afternoon, Subcommittee Chair Booker, Ranking Member Cotton, and Subcommittee members. I'm Armando Aguilar, Assistant Chief of Police at the Miami Police Department, also currently serving a 3-year term as a member of the Law Enforcement Subcommittee of the National Artificial Intelligence Advisory Committee, or NIAC-LE. I would, however, like to point out that I'm speaking here today on behalf of the Miami Police Department and not on my position on NIAC-LE. I'm proud to say that the Miami Police Department story is among the greatest turnaround stories in law enforcement. In 1980, Miami, with a murder rate comparable to that of Honduras, was America's murder capital. I became a Miami police officer in 2001 and a homicide detective in late 2004, a year when 69 people would be murdered in Miami and another 6,400 would fall victim to violent crime. By this time, we had the audacity to high-five each other because we were no longer in the top 5 most violent cities in America. We were, however, perennially on the top 25 list. Fast forward to 2023, Miami ended the year with 31 murders and 2,600 violent crimes, 31 and 2,600 too many still. Our murder clearance rate, the rate at which cases are solved, was 68% or 97% under the FBI's legacy reporting system, which counts prior year cases closed during 2023. Our violent crime clearance rate was 58%. Now, for most of my career, our murder clearance rate hovered below 45% and our violent crime clearance rate below 38%. So what changed? A great deal. I'll begin by stating that I've had the pleasure of leading the best generation of officers, detectives, and professional staff to serve the people of Miami, and our success begins with community trust. Violent crime, especially unsolved violent crime, is among the greatest threats which serve to undermine that trust. A shooting takes place, community member calls in an anonymous tip. The police, without any other leads to corroborate the tip, will eventually result in the case going cold. People stop reporting gunfire. The police, in turn, do not respond to gunfire that we don't know about. The perception quickly becomes that the police are at best unable to keep them safe or at worst unwilling to. The Miami Police Department has successfully leveraged artificial intelligence over the past few years to great effect. We use gunshot detection systems, public safety cameras, facial recognition or FR, video analytics, license plate readers, social media threat monitoring, and mobile data forensics. We use ballistic evidence to connect the dots between shootings and the violent actors that are victimizing our communities. A recent BJA-funded study by Florida International University found that violent crimes where one such resource was used by our detectives had a 66% greater likelihood of being solved when compared to similar cases where no such resource was used. I'm happy to discuss any of the technologies that we employ, but I'm going to take this time to discuss how we came to develop our policy governing the use of FR in criminal investigations. It started in January 2020 when the New York Times ran an article by Kashmir Hill. The article was critical of the use of law enforcement facial recognition and of one vendor in particular. Ms. Hill posed several questions which resonated with me, as I do spend my time out of uniform as a private citizen. Without proper safeguards, Ms. Hill asked, what would stop police from using FR to identify peaceful protest organizers or cyberstalking an attractive stranger at a cafe? What about the public whose biometric data, that is our faces, would be analyzed by police? So my team and I set out to establish a facial recognition policy that would address these and other concerns. We're not the first law enforcement agency to use facial recognition or to develop FR policy, but we were the first to be this transparent about it. We did not seek to impose our policy on the public. We asked them to help us write it. We started out by meeting with local privacy advocates. They absolutely hated it. But we wanted to know why they hated it, so they told us. We found that many of their critiques were thoughtful and reasonable, so we heard their objections, took it upon ourselves to treat them as recommendations, and incorporated several of them into our policy. We highlighted successful arrests aided by FR through local media coverage. And that March, we held 2 virtual town hall-style meetings, virtually because in-person meetings were not an option due to the pandemic. One session was conducted in English, the other in Spanish. Each session included public questions and comments, and each session had about 1,300 live views and 3,600 total views. The policy that resulted from our effort created a narrow framework within which we would use FR. Most importantly, our policy emphasizes that FR matches do not constitute probable cause to arrest. Matches are treated like an anonymous tip, which must be corroborated by physical, testimony, or circumstantial evidence. We laid out 5 allowable uses: criminal investigations, internal affairs investigations, identifying cognitively impaired persons, deceased persons, and lawfully detained persons. We use FR retrospectively. That is, that we don't use it in a live or real-time basis to identify persons going about their business in public spaces. And we do not use it to identify persons who are carrying out constitutionally protected activities. We establish a policy limiting who has access to our FR platforms, and we disclose our FR use to defense counsel in criminal cases. We do not substantively manipulate or alter probe photographs, use composite sketches as probe photographs, or use any other technique which has not been scientifically validated. These efforts, along with many others, resulted in a Miami that is safer today than at any other time in our history. I thank you for inviting me to speak before the subcommittee, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. That's extraordinary testimony. I remind the witnesses that Senator Whitehouse and Senator Kennedy are here, so you should be on your best behavior. Dr. Howard.
Chair Booker, Ranking Member Cotton, and members of the subcommittee, I am pleased to be here today to discuss technologies that can assist in criminal investigations. Criminal justice is an important governmental responsibility with a significant impact on the public. Such investigations should be conducted as quickly and accurately as possible. A number of algorithms can aid investigators in the search for links between individuals and evidence collected at a crime scene. Some of these tools are enabled by artificial intelligence, while others rely on statistical or automated methods rather than AI. My testimony today is based on 2 reports we issued describing the strengths and limitations of the most common algorithms used for criminal investigations. In our work, we found that federal law enforcement agencies primarily use 3 types of algorithms in their investigations: probabilistic genotyping, latent print analysis, and facial recognition. These algorithms offer some common advantages over human analysts. For example, they dramatically increase the speed of comparisons, allowing larger databases to be searched in significantly less time. In addition, they generally produce more consistent results because they don't get tired or have an off day as human analysts can. The best of these tools are highly accurate and effective, often more so than a human analyst alone. However, this is not to say that such algorithms are perfectly accurate or objective. There are hundreds of algorithms in development and on the market, and performance can vary significantly among them, as shown in independent testing by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. Studies have shown that the best results may be obtained from the combination of a highly accurate algorithm and a well-trained analyst. Despite the advantages offered by high-quality algorithms, there are also several challenges to their use. For example, poor quality crime scene evidence can significantly reduce the effectiveness of the tools, and experts told us there is considerable variability in the standards for what constitutes suitable evidence quality, especially across the many state and local law enforcement agencies. Other challenges include errors or improper use by human analysts, unknown and potentially biased training data for AI-based algorithms, the possibility that the correct person isn't in the database used for comparison, difficulties with interpreting and explaining the output, lack of the necessary information for law enforcement agencies to identify the best performing algorithms, and sometimes a lack of resources to purchase those, and a lack of public trust in the results for some algorithms. We proposed 3 policy options that may help address these challenges. First, increased training for analysts and investigators, which could improve their understanding of the importance of crime scene evidence quality. Increased training could also reduce errors and inconsistency by human analysts and increase proper interpretation of algorithm results. Second, policymakers could facilitate the development and adoption of standards for appropriate use, which could set standards for algorithm performance that is acceptable, reduce the use of low-quality evidence, and increase public confidence in the results. And third, increased transparency regarding the testing, performance, and use of algorithms, which could make it easier for law enforcement entities to identify the best performing technologies and improve understanding of the training data for AI-enabled tools, perhaps leading to the development of more robust and representative training data. Finally, I note that there are many other types of algorithms in development or use beyond the 3 we examined. Some of these depend on AI to power their comparisons and decision-making. In our judgment, the challenges we identified are likely to also be relevant to these other types of algorithms. In conclusion, we found that probabilistic genotyping, latent print analysis, and facial recognition can be very useful to help investigate crimes, but several challenges may limit their effectiveness. By addressing these challenges, we can improve the accuracy and effectiveness of criminal investigations and enhance public trust. This concludes my prepared statement, and I would be happy to respond